everyone, I'm Ashley Smashley. In this video, we're going to talk about what to do when you are emotionally triggered. If you are new to my channel, you're going to want to smash this like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications because we are just getting started over here and your girl is going to blow up. You're going to want to be here to watch it all go down. I have made countless videos about emotions and emotional triggers, but I'm going to keep making content about them because it's super important that people learn what to do with their emotional triggers and how emotions actually work. So if every video I only reach one person and one more person starts to understand emotions better, then that's great. Let's keep the emotion content coming. Every single time that you are emotionally triggered, it is an opportunity to release energy from your field. Now let me explain. All of our emotions have an energetic component to it. It is vibrating at a certain frequency, right? So when we were children, most of us were not taught how to process and clear this energy out of our fields properly. So we repressed this energy in our emotional body. So we have an energetic body, emotional body, and a physical body. And that is where this emotional energy is stored. It's vibrating at a lower frequency. So what happens when we have this energy stuck in our field? We attract and experience a person or a situation that will trigger this energy. And then we have the opportunity, while that energy is triggered, to become aware of it and process it and release it, or ignore it and project and blame the other person. And then we will continue to repress that energy in our field, the energy that we have in our fields from repressed emotions, from traumas or limiting beliefs. We have been carrying that around either for our whole lives. It can be from a past life. It can be passed down from an ancestor. We could have picked it up while we were in our mother's womb. One of the reasons that Earth was created was to feel human emotions. Earth is the only place where human emotions exist, where this low of a frequency exist. Outside of Earth, everything is much more high frequency. So we come to Earth and we take on these low frequency emotions, and then we set up soul contracts with certain people. They come and place on our path and they trigger that energy in us. They are the mirror reflecting back to us the energy that we have stuck in our field. And the process that we are here on Earth to do, the ascension process, is to become aware of how this process works, first of all. Second of all, every time we are triggered, we clear and release that energy out of our field, and then we ascend states of consciousness, and we raise our vibrational frequency. So here's a little analogy for you. When you go look in the mirror and you have something in your teeth, the mirror will reflect back to you that you have something in your teeth, right? So you pick it out of your teeth, and then the mirror will no longer reflect that back to you. You don't get mad at the mirror for reflecting back to you that you have something in your teeth. Now, what most people are doing here on Earth, when we get triggered, we get mad at the person. That is the same as getting mad at the mirror. What we need to do is learn how to clear the energy from that trigger, that emotion, whatever it is that we're feeling in that moment. If we clear that out of our field, the mirror, the 3D reality, will no longer reflect that emotional trigger. And that's one way to know if you've cleared the energy out of your field. You will stop attracting experiences that trigger that within you, or you will have that experience, but you will no longer have that emotional reaction tied to it. And I've seen this in my own life. There are countless things that I used to react to and get emotionally triggered about that I no longer do because I've sat and I've felt the emotion and I've let it clear and processed out of my field. We must sit with the energy and just observe it from a higher state of consciousness. You are not the emotion. You are not the human feeling the emotion. You are the awareness of the human feeling the emotion. And when we can feel that emotion from that type of place, the energy will alchemize. We turn it into love instead of labeling these low frequency emotions as negative, and then we further repress them, or like, oh, good vibes only. That is not what we came here to do on Earth. We came here to feel human emotions. So if you think that you can just think better thoughts every time you have a negative emotion or you're triggered, and that you're just going to raise your vibration, that's not how it works. You are spiritually bypassing the whole reason why you came to Earth, to feel human emotions. And believe me, once upon a time, I thought I had absolutely no control over my emotions, that it was everyone else's fault that I was feeling the things that I felt. But once you realize how this works, that the energy is stuck in your field, and when you sit there and you allow yourself to feel it, you will process it out of your field and you will release it, and you will no longer attract the experience that reflects that back to you. Now, there are two very different situations when it comes to emotional triggers. If someone's intention is to trigger you or make you mad or to call you a name, their like direct intention behind whatever it is that's triggering you is to trigger you, obviously you are still manifesting that experience. You probably have a soul tie with that person to go through and sort through whatever those emotions or the lesson you need to learn behind it, whatever you need to process and release. And I recently had this happen with another female acquaintance that I met on Facebook. We kind of got into it, and I realized, oh, okay, we have a soul contract. She was placed on my path to trigger these emotions in me. So I completely disregard her, like she doesn't matter. The story doesn't matter. What matters is the emotion and the energy that I have repressed within my system. So then you must clear and release. You do not blame the other person for triggering you. And then there's the time where someone has absolutely no intention on triggering you. They weren't doing anything at all that had anything to do with you. And if you get triggered, you really need to look at why you got triggered instead of trying to blame the other person for triggering you. And recently, this is so funny, I made a video, if you want to go back and look, it was a little skit that I made up about my personal experience of when I became aware of my fitness ego and had my little fitness ego death. And I realized that I was using the gym and posting about going to the gym to really feed my insecure ego and make me feel better about myself. So I made up this whole skit, and while I actually wrote a script for it, right? I usually don't script out any of my videos, but when I wrote the script, I was like, how can I make this even more like dramatic and ridiculous, right? And then when I spoke it, I re-recorded it too so that I could even sound more dramatic and ridiculous. And ultimately, I was making fun of myself. And my intention behind the video was not to trigger anybody or put anyone down or come after anybody, right? I was literally making fun of myself. And I thought about posting that in the description. I was like, should I put that this video is meant to be a funny skit about my own personal experience? But I didn't, right? So anyway, someone came up on my content and put, this sounds like it's coming from a place of hate. I have no idea where they got hate from, because literally the whole time I was making that skit, I thought I was just being over the top ridiculous. And it's in that moment that when you get emotionally triggered by something that has absolutely nothing to do with you, and instead of sitting and asking yourself, why am I triggered by this? You get mad at the person triggering you, even though they had absolutely no intention to come after you specifically, right? So that is when we need to become self-aware and assess our triggers. Why am I being triggered? And the reason why people get mad at the situation triggering them instead of sitting in awareness and understanding why they're getting triggered is because the mirror's reflecting back something to them that they are not aware of or they're not ready to face within themselves. But that's the whole reason why they're attracting that situation. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having an emotional reaction to it. So every single time that you are emotionally triggered, it is an opportunity to release an energy that you have stuck within your field. If you ignore it or you project and get mad at the other person, all you are doing is repressing that energy in your field, and you will attract another situation in which that energy gets triggered, and you will continue to do this until you understand how emotions work and how this process works, and you disregard whatever it is you're seeing in your world that's triggering you, and you are ready to sit and face whatever it is within you that attracted that trigger in the first place. So don't be afraid to face your emotions and feel them and process them and release them. That is the key to spiritual awakening and ascension, raising your vibration and raising your state of consciousness. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.